You didn't incarnate here on earth to follow someone else's template of love. You came to embody your own. And specifically, if you have been called to some kind of twin flame journey in this lifetime, regardless of what form or shape that journey has taken over the course of time, you are one who has been called to entirely and dramatically transform the template of love on planet Earth. And in this video, I'm going to share with you the 4 current twin flame pathways or timelines that I am witnessing unfolding in the collective, what each of these 4 timelines mean, the lessons that they hold, and how to know which of these union blueprints you are aligning with now in your twin flame connection. And yes, I'm using the term union, redefined in this case. We are expanding the definition of union, evolving in a sense to a higher octave of truth on the twin flame journey, where union starts energetically and manifests itself in very different ways physically, depending on our own unique desires, circumstances, and the path that not only serves us and our physical twin flame in the highest way, but also actually serves its own unique purpose for the collective. But first, let me introduce myself. My name is Infinity, and this is Magnetize Yourself, where we talk about life, love, spirituality, and of course, the law of attraction. But today we're talking about twin flames and the 4 pathways of twin flames in 2025. Unions are taking place between twin flames all over the globe, but these unions are not always taking expected forms that we may have previously considered to be conventional. And if you were drawn to this video, maybe you are one of those who is on one of the less conventional twin flame union pathways. And if so, I hope that through sharing this video transmission, you can feel seen, heard, understood, and validated on your journey. Because something I would like to present to you is that if you feel energetically balanced within yourself as a twin flame, and you feel yourself in this harmonious dance spiritually and energetically with the soul that you consider to be your twin, but in the physical realm, your union doesn't necessarily fit what you may have expected at the outset or what other people may deem as quote unquote normal or conventional. This doesn't mean that you failed at twin flame union. It means you outgrew the template people expected to see it in. And going back to what I said initially, isn't that the whole point? Isn't the point that you incarnated here to show a new way of loving on the planet, to entirely change the template, not to live by the preset standard? You are living a template of true unconditional love in your own way. Before I get into these 4 different twin flame pathways, the first thing I want to make clear is that these pathways are not in any particular order, meaning there's no hierarchy here. One pathway is not better than the other, just like within any spiritual role that we may have on the planet. For example, if you are a light worker, there are many different brands and types of light workers with different roles, and your role can shift and change over time. Similarly, when you are a twin flame, your role as a twin can shift and change over time. So understand that there is no right or wrong to this journey. There is no one pathway that is better or more servicing to the collective, to the transmitting of love on the planet than another. In fact, all 4 pathways are mutually reinforcing, and I feel there are 2 messages coming through here. One is the importance of honoring and respecting your own path instead of feeling the need to force it into some kind of box or to make it into something that doesn't really feel right or true for you, because your path only has to make sense to you. And when it does make sense to you, what that means is you are living your aligned path, and therefore the one that is actually serving at the highest level. But the second message coming through is honoring the paths of others and the differences between us. Because while we all may be on a twin flame journey and experience many commonalities and many similarities, the way in which we experience that journey at the end of the day is going to be uniquely ours. Each twin flame coupling has its own unique soul blueprint, has a soul contract that was written prior to incarnating that is unique to those 2 souls, and no 2 blueprints look exactly the same, although there can often be collective trends, which those trends are going to be what we talk about today. These pathways are also not mutually exclusive. So, for example, you may be experiencing 2 different pathways in different forms at once. You also might find that your pathway shifts or changes over time. And the key here is to notice your shifting and changing desire. Because when you have a sacred, pure soul desire for something, it speaks to a very high vibrational timeline that is available to you where that desire is being fulfilled, but also where you are living in a kind of deep, comprehensive fulfillment on a soul level. This is your highest pathway speaking to you. Your desires are these seeds planted by your higher self, these breadcrumbs, so to speak, leading you on the trail that is most aligned for you. So, in simpler terms, when you have a desire for a traditional physical union with a twin flame, so to speak, that actually speaks to the potential of you aligning with that pathway in a very beautiful, harmonious, high vibrational way. Whereas if another person, let's say, has a desire not to be in a traditional physical union with their twin, they recognize the depth and the beauty of that connection, but prefer to connect with and have a relationship in the physical with a high-level soulmate, that speaks to their own unique desires. And all desires are those seeds from our higher selves that are leading us down these pathways that are most aligned for us based on our and our twins' personal current circumstances, future circumstances as well, situation, mission, and the blueprint that we share between our souls. So listen to your own intuition. At the end of the day, that is your highest guide, and that would be my number one piece of advice above all else. Now, let's get into the first pathway. This pathway is what I consider to be the conventional pathway. And I want to say at the outset that the precursor to all of these pathways is energetic union. So if you're finding this video and aligning with these messages, you are most likely someone who's been very balanced within yourself for quite some time. You've learned how to balance your inner divine masculine and inner divine feminine, and therefore you've come into this energetic union within yourself. You've also begun to pour into some kind of mission, purpose, or something that is deeply connected with your soul that you are doing or creating in this world. Mission doesn't have to look like something quote unquote spiritual. It could be creating art, creating music, healing your inner child, starting a business, but it's something that is soul aligned for you. And it's a mission in its own right because it's a way in which you are transmitting your own energy and frequency to the planet through whatever it is you are doing or creating. So if this reading or this video is for you, you've already come into that energetic union within, and now you are experiencing one of these four pathways unfolding in front of you as a result of that inner union. I'm hearing for some of you, you may have been in this union for quite some time, possibly without even realizing it, simply because the physical manifestation of that union hasn't necessarily looked conventional or like you would expect it to look. But the first pathway is more so conventional. The first pathway is traditional physical union with your twin flame. This is kind of the textbook fairy tale ending sort of union state, which when I say fairy tale ending, of course, we're all writing our own fairy tale. I just mean it's very conventional fairy tale-esque, meaning that both counterparts in a traditional union are in some kind of romantic relationship that's very much stabilized and visible in the physical world. This could look anything from they're living together, they are dating, seeing each other frequently in the physical, but most likely in some form of solid romantic relationship that's very visible, that's usually exclusive. They are either dating, engaged, married, living in the same space, interacting with each other consistently, if not on a daily basis in the physical, in that very traditional romantic context. This is a version of union that mirrors the traditional 3D relationship model. And yet, what's so beautiful about this pathway is while it mirrors the traditional 3D relationship model, what's happening beneath the surface is very fifth dimensional. It's very cosmic. In a sense, twins who are in this traditional physical union are acting like anchors on planet Earth, where they are anchoring in this very high frequency, unconditional love energy that's very fifth dimensional into the third dimensional earth plane through having this very stable, consistent physical union state. This path exists because in every one of these pathways, I want to explain the purpose of the pathway to the collective whole. This timeline reflects a readiness in both counterparts to stabilize the energy of their connection in a physical, consistent way. And it should be noted that that physical consistency is usually somehow playing a role in their mutual mission. Often in these cases, twin flames in this traditional physical union will also share a very real-time, clear physical purpose, something they are building, doing, or creating together physically in real time, some kind of partnership that they share, even if that's creating, let's say, a physical family, which I could do a whole video on the role of twin flames who start their own physical families, who have children together, because that's a very powerful role as well. But usually, there's some kind of higher mission or purpose that involves them being together in real time, physically, consistently in this way. This traditional physical union can only be stabilized when both twins have individually reached enough inner balance, emotional maturity, and soul clarity to harmonize their energies in real time. And while if this is your path, it's a deep soul desire of yours being manifested, it's not an easy path because it does require perpetual recalibration and harmonization of yourself, not just yourself, but your twin as well. It requires both parties to be constantly going within, introspecting, healing themselves, harmonizing themselves. They both must be operating on a high level of consciousness and a deep level of self-awareness to continuously sustain this physical union state without triggering each other or creating so much chaos together through that energetic intensity that it creates a separation. Because as we know, twin flame connection is extremely high frequency. There's constant energy flowing between the two of you. So when you're in the same physical space, solidifying this physical union state, it takes a lot of inner work on both sides, not just to attain to that union, but actually to sustain it on a daily basis. But again, if this is your path, you will know because that is a deep desire that you've held within your heart. And another way to know that this is your path is when you think of the desire for physical union, it feels peaceful. It feels right. It feels supportive. It doesn't feel like chasing. It doesn't feel desperate. And it doesn't feel as though you're trying to convince yourself into wanting something that doesn't necessarily feel right for you. And that is such a key point here, because twin flames collectively, many of us have had this concept of traditional physical union being the collective end goal, no matter the circumstance. So it's really important to separate what desires could be coming from expectations projected onto you externally and what desires are truly coming from your own soul. So ask yourself, when I think of consistently being with my twin flame every day in the same space in this kind of relationship, when I think of that, does that feel right? Does it feel peaceful? Does it feel like it's supporting me? And if so, this is most likely your path. And if it doesn't feel that way for you, again, the message coming up here over and over is don't force it. Don't attempt to make yourself fit into a mold of union that doesn't feel right for you. Another way to know this is your path is you feel a calm inner knowing that the physical relationship is aligned, not just a craving to get the prize, so to speak. So this isn't about a milestone or being able to show the world that you're in union or to prove something. The reason you desire union, even if you were the only two people on the planet, even if you were leaving everyone else out of the equation, the reason you truly desire this union is because this person, your twin flame's physical presence, is calming and peaceful and supportive to you in that kind of manner and within the context of this kind of connection. Another important key point that I touched on earlier, but a way to know this is your path, is you and your twin flame are both actively working toward emotional regulation, alignment, and shared mission. And this is really important because when you're in a sustained physical union with your physical twin flame, both parties must be committed to that union in their own way equally. They both have to be willing to regulate themselves, to prioritize their own inner alignment, and to dedicate themselves to the shared mission, the joint mission that they have together. And again, that mission doesn't have to look like starting a business together or creating something literal together, or I should say something physical. It could be creating the energy of peace in a home, or creating a safe space for each other together, or creating a family, like I mentioned earlier. But there has to be a mutual shared dedication to whatever that mission or purpose is, the purpose of the two of them coming together. This path teaches embodied love to the collective. Living soul union through devotion, co-creation, and shared presence. This path anchors 5D energy into 3D form. So again, you could really think of the twin flames in traditional physical union like the anchors. Now, let's get into the 3, what I call non-conventional twin flame union pathways. By non-conventional, I mean these twin flames are not in a traditional, conventional romantic relationship that is as visible and known or recognized societally speaking. They are not necessarily living together in the same space. They are not necessarily consistently together all of the time physically. However, it's very important to note that the energetic bond is just as strong, unified, and harmonized as in a traditional physical union, which I totally get can be difficult to understand if you aren't experiencing one of these 3 alternate pathways. It can be difficult to conceptualize why someone would desire one of these pathways. I think that's the beauty of sharing these different perspectives, because it teaches us to see from a higher perspective other potential pathways or timelines, even if they are not our own. And I also think that's the value of sharing our experiences in this community, because we can share what we've found to be true on our own path, and we can honor each other, even if it doesn't necessarily align with our own truth. So this second pathway I like to call energetic union plus physical independence. So it looks like you and your twin flame are not in a consistent romantic relationship. You may be in contact or you may not be in contact, just depending on the circumstances. But either way, You both feel deeply connected on a soul level. You've reached a stable inner union and feel a calm awareness of your twin flame's presence within and around you, even while living your life independently. Now, there is a very powerful reason that this path exists, even though it looks very different from being that anchor in a traditional twin flame union. And so first of all, I want to say that sometimes the energy between twins is so powerful that it cannot yet be stabilized in a shared physical container. And again, this doesn't necessarily mean it's never going to be a traditional twin flame union in the physical, because this number 2 pathway could actually become the number 1 pathway over the course of time. Again, there can be changes here. But it doesn't mean that this connection is any less just because the 2 twins are not necessarily physically consistently in the same space or in a labeled romantic relationship. Actually, in these cases, the connection is so intense that physical closeness might short circuit the nervous system. Often you will know if you're on this path because you may enjoy being in the presence of your twin flame, but you almost feel like you burn each other out. And then it's like you have to separate for a period of time almost to integrate the energy, or maybe patterns that came up when you were together, or lessons that you need to learn on your own. Whatever it is, you might find that being together, the energy is so intense that while it's beautiful, it burns out quickly. And then you have to separate, integrate, and then maybe come back together again, or visit or meet up or exchange something energetically and then separate again. Very often, twins in this category go through that kind of push and pull dynamic. The confusing thing is it's not the so-called running and chasing dynamic. There's no running or chasing when you're in this energetic union. The entire time you actually feel deeply balanced, fulfilled, and whole on your own, even when your twin flame isn't physically around. So there's not that chasing energy. And that's the big difference from being in this form of a union state versus being in that early stage of the twin flame journey where you're still running and chasing each other. You feel whole, you feel complete, you feel at peace, regardless of whether you're together with your twin, visiting, seeing them, meeting up. Again, if that's on your path, that won't be for everyone. But if you're doing that, then you kind of burn each other out. You might separate for a period of time or do your own thing. And then you naturally might come back together to, again, meet up, exchange something, and then separate again. For others, maybe you don't see your twin or don't desire to see them for weeks, months, or years at a time. So take it however it connects for you personally. But again, the key is here, the entire time you feel balanced. You don't feel like you're chasing. You don't really feel like there's even any loss. You know that the union is energetically balanced and stabilized. It's just that the form it takes physically seems to change over the course of time. Another sign this is your path is you notice synchronicities or dreams involving your twin flame. You may still receive some of those traditional signs of twin flames, but at the same time, when you experience those signs, it doesn't activate any kind of urge to chase or to push something into place. You simply, again, feel whole and at peace because you know deep down, even if it looks unconventional, that you are living in alignment with your highest truth, that you are actually already in this energetic union with your twin and walking your highest pathway here. You also may notice on this path that when you are in that state of independence, your presence strongly activates others around you, especially others of the opposite polarity. So for example, if you are a divine feminine, you will notice that you almost become this beacon or this lighthouse for masculine energies around you. They may be very drawn to you. You may wake them up to their highest potential. And I don't mean necessarily romantically. This even could be platonically. You have this tendency, being this beacon, being this lighthouse, to activate the consciousness of the other polarity because you are balanced within yourself. And so this path teaches you sovereignty. It teaches you how to stand and hold this union on your own while being balanced and complete within yourself and still in this energetic connectedness to your twin, which is very real and very much mutually supportive on that quantum energetic level. This path is teaching you how to hold energetic union without needing external validation. And it's actually teaching others that as well when they see your example of that, even if they don't really understand it, even if they aren't on a twin flame specific path themselves, seeing you live in this kind of independence, confidence, sovereignty is very healing and activating to others. When you are one on this path, you are embodying a deeply magnetic frequency that heals others simply by being. And you will notice that there's something about your mere presence in a room, a space, a community, a connection that seems to heal and shift others. Again, you very much embody the energy of the beacon or the lighthouse. So let's get into the third pathway that I've noticed unfolding for twin flames in 2025. And this is what I call sacred solitude or mission-focused union. So this is a very unique form of union where you've come into energetic union, but you actually have no interest in engaging in any form of romantic connection, either in the physical with your twin flame or with anyone else. In fact, you are pouring all of your energy into your purpose, your healing, maybe your family, your soul work. The key here is love isn't absent from your life just because it isn't taking a romantic form right now. It's actually being channeled into the world. Some souls are here to be way showers and grid keepers. For these souls, romance is not the primary mode of union. Mission is. This path often requires a kind of radical trust as it's highly misunderstood by society and can feel isolating at times. And you will know this if you're on this pathway. I'm sure you've experienced that. How to know that this is your path is, first of all, the obvious. You feel no romantic pull towards any kind of relationship. You feel disinterested in any kind of romantic relationship in the physical, but you do feel deeply devoted to your mission and your self-expression. At the same time, you're still very much aware of this union that's taken place with your twin flame. You intuitively know that you are supporting your twin flame energetically, even if they're far away or unreachable. Because for many of the souls in this pathway, you actually may have no physical contact or relationship with your twin flame whatsoever. Again, that will vary from person to person, but you may have no contact with them at all. And yet, you sense that you are energetically supporting each other, and in turn, you are supporting yourself as well and almost funneling that energy from your twin flame union into some kind of personal soul mission. This path teaches pure energetic alignment. When you are walking this path, you are channeling divine love into the physical realm through creative output, service, and embodied integrity. So finally, the fourth pathway that is unfolding for twin flames in 2025 is union through a high-level soulmate. So what this path looks like is that you've already encountered your twin flame. You've been deeply activated by them. You may have even attempted to stabilize a romantic physical relationship with them, but it either fell apart or couldn't be sustained, or because of the circumstances, it wasn't something that you were desiring or that was supportive for you in the physical realm. And you've chosen to enter into a romantic relationship with a high-level soulmate who entered your life. For some of you, maybe you haven't yet met this person, but this is a path that you felt pulling on your soul, one that you are calling in on a soul level. Most likely, when you meet this high-level soulmate, it comes in very unexpectedly, very much after thinking that you might never find love or maybe ever be in a relationship because of perhaps the circumstances with your twin flame. And yet, regardless, this beautiful high-level soulmate connection comes into your life not to negate the bond with your twin, which still exists, which you still very much feel, which you're still aware of, but this bond comes in to support your evolution in a peaceful, real-time, physical way, in a way that your soul has been craving and calling in. And in these cases, very often you can feel as though there's still unfinished business or something unresolved with your twin. You might feel as though you're unsure how that connection is going to unfold in your life, what level of involvement it's going to have in your life, but yet you have this knowing that you are being so loved and supported by this beautiful soulmate connection that's entered your life, and you are loving yourself enough to allow yourself to open into that connection and to lean into that connection, to lean into a soulmate who supports your healing, your growth, and embodiment of mission. In some timelines, physical union with a twin flame may not be the most aligned or sustainable outcome, at least not at the moment. One or both twins may still be entangled in karmic patterns, or the connection may be too volatile to harmonize in this lifetime. Choosing a high-level soulmate doesn't negate the twin flame bond. It simply means you've chosen the form of partnership that supports your evolution most peacefully. And so this path is teaching that union is about alignment. It's not about labels. It's not about appearances. This is a path about self-love, about you on this path ultimately choosing to love yourself more than needing to fit someone else's expectations of what your love life should look like. You also on this pathway are both learning but also showing to others that sacred love can arrive in unexpected forms when we surrender our attachment to a specific outcome. And again, with all four of these pathways, nothing here is a hierarchy, and also no pathways are mutually exclusive. One pathway may actually ultimately lead you to desire another, or, vice versa. So take this however it connects. I would love to hear from you in the comments. Which pathway do you find yourself experiencing with your twin flame? And if you're unsure, here's how to know which pathway you are experiencing, what your personal twin flame divine union blueprint is for you. It's about tuning into your body, your desires, your pattern, your peace. It's not about what the mind says. It's about what your frequency reveals. So I want you to ask yourself these questions. The first question is, where do I feel the most relief when I imagine this path unfolding? And there's an emphasis on the word relief. When you feel into each of these pathways, maybe even close your eyes and imagine each of these pathways with your twin flame. Which one brings you the greatest feeling of relief? Which path feels like peace for you? Because the right path for you will feel like it isn't being forced. It will feel like it's just clicking into place. Another question to ask is, which version of union brings me into deepest alignment with my life purpose right now? Keyword here is now, not what you believe your purpose may evolve into in the future or should be. But look at your life now, what you feel your purpose is right now. Which of these pathways is supporting that purpose? And the last question to ask yourself is, am I being led by ego longing or divine resonance? So am I wanting it to be this pathway because that seems to make the most sense to other people, or it looks great on paper, or it checks out to my ego, or does this path feel right because there's simply that resonance in my soul, in the most innermost core part of my being? You'll know your path not by logic, but by how it settles in your nervous system. The right path will feel like it clicks into place, not because it's easy, but because it's true. Now, finally, surrendering to your divine blueprint, which may be the most difficult part of this journey of all, learning to surrender. Surrender is not giving up on the dream. It's giving up the illusion that you have control as to how it manifests. Your soul already chose the most aligned outcome. You're not here to decide. You're here to remember. So breathe, soften, listen. Let your own alignment call forth the version of union that your frequency is ready to hold. And know Union is not always proximity. Union is coherence. Union is the frequency you become. And when you become the frequency, the form will always follow. Even if it doesn't look like what you first imagined, it will be everything you needed, because the real reunion is with yourself. And if you would like assistance in clearing your own energy, raising your vibration to that level of unconditional love so you can align with the pathway that is most beneficial to you, that helps you to live out your personal, unique purpose in life and also attract in the divine love you desire, whatever form that takes, I really recommend my Twin Flame 7 Chakra Clearing Subliminal Meditation. This comes from my Subliminals app, Sound and Soulful. And as you can see on the screen, on this app, I have over 130 subliminals for love, relationships, money, appearance, business, and so many other things as well. There's so much to explore there. Personally, I have seen more results using subliminals every single day for several years now than any other manifestation technique I've ever tried. So I'm so passionate about sharing my personal library of subliminals with all of you. You can listen to any of them in 10 different background sound options. You can also create your own custom private playlists and read the affirmations while you are listening. This particular subliminal will really help to magnetize your energy with that super powerful frequency of unconditional love to attract in whichever form of twin flame physical union you desire to experience. And if you're already in that union, it will help to stabilize and harmonize that pathway for you, because you're connecting in with the most harmonizing energy of all, of course, that frequency of unconditional love. So if you want to supercharge your energy and become magnetic in your love life, check out my Twin Flame 7 Chakra Clearing from my app, and you can try it out completely free for 7 days when you create a free trial account in the app. The link to download is in the pinned comment and description box. Also, if you haven't yet followed me on Instagram, I've been posting a lot of real-time downloads there, some of them related directly to the twin flame journey. So for more real-time downloads and messages, follow my Instagram at Magnetize Yourself. And you can also check out my music under the artist name Songs by Infinity. And there's just something about saying that. I guess it just relates to my own personal mission and path in this life. But I'm sure those of you who are creative types know how beautiful and fulfilling it is to be able to say, like, check out this thing I created, when it's something that you've been longing for so long to make from your soul. So I love sharing my original songs, and yes, I'm singing on them as well. I am a singer-songwriter, and I love to channel some threads of energy that come up in these readings into music. So yes, my artist name is Songs by Infinity. You can stream me across pretty much every music platform, but follow me on Spotify, because that is where you will be the first to know whenever I release new songs. And there is a new one coming very soon. So yeah, I think that's everything. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't yet. Join our beautiful community here on YouTube. I am posting every single day here on the channel, at least until August 15th. I'm doing this like 30-day daily posting challenge, as many of you know. But I also do collective readings every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as well. So thank you for being here. Thank you for co-creating with me in your own way, for walking your own path so bravely. I so love and adore being part of this community, and I hope you have a beautiful remainder of your day. I will connect with you here again in the next video.